Hello and welcome to episode 83 of Friends of the Show. I am Stephen W. Skinner, and this is my podcast where I speak with some of the coolest people from the realm of the internets. This week's friend was a household name in 27 in my house, still is, hosting the wildly successful app sensation HQ Trivia, who's the talk of the town, broadcasting to millions, and then it all ended abruptly. And before all that, he met little old me at the Ossington in Toronto. I'm talking, of course, about Scott Rogowsky. Well, we get into all of that and much, much more. Please note, I was feeling a little under the weather the next two episodes, so bear with me as I'm a little out of it. Now, Friends of the Show, episode 83, with Scott Rogowsky.
I wonder what. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me.
No, it's me.
Oh, it was you. I hear you now.
I didn't have the thing turned on. That's the key.
That's-
The key to life in 2021 is having things turned on.
That's a huge part of it.
What is this music you got going on here?
You never heard this music before?
Never heard this. What is this? Are we doing? Is this? We're not doing cameras.
No cameras.
Okay.
Cut it.
Turn this fucking camera off.
You don't recognize this music? That's good.
I recognize the music.
They didn't pump this into your studio?
I'm playing with you, man. I know it.
All right.
I know it.
He knows it, folks. And we've got him here, folks. Tonight, folks, we got him this week. Welcome to the pod at Scott Rogowsky.
Oh, wow. Is this live? Are we live somewhere?
No, we're not live. That's just my
You
intro voice.
You just have an intro that it's as if I just joined a party.
That's right. Yeah.
Happening.
And then
I
this
like
is when
it.
I pump in the sound effects of the live audience losing their shit. Scott. I had to pay people to do a Scott chain, but it's worth it.
Scott. You can I'll loop myself chanting for myself. How's that?
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. So
Double track it.
You're a pro audiosman, I can tell, because you sound perfect right out of the gates, like so smooth and buttery. It's like a double ender, but it's just not. It's just straight up live.
I can't believe that's not my buttery voice.
Your buttery voice is buttering everyone's ear holes right now. And frankly, I love it. I love when we just go and the levels are perfect. Don't even have to tweak anything.
Dude, I had to up my game because now I'm a podcaster. See, I was waiting. This appearance is what, 3 years in the making?
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Something like that. So
Been on the-
I kept putting it off. I said, no, Steven, I'm going to do it, but let me be a podcast host first.
I understand,
Then I can be your guest. I was insecure. I couldn't just go on your podcast without being a host myself.
No, that would be ridiculous. Coming onto a podcast without having a podcast yourself? No.
Didn't the Trudeau and the Liberals run on this new platform where, I mean, I'm not a Canadian politics expert, but I did hear a little something about their legislation that says you can't be a guest on someone's podcast until you're a podcast host yourself. And it's just part of this initiative to get two podcasts in every home.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
2035.
Yeah, Liberals. He called a snap election, as you know. Recently, they got reelected. A minority government, though. So, was it a mistake? Was there a point to call a snap election in the middle of a pandemic? Questionable. So, but yeah, now we have all these podcasters. So, I mean, welcome to the crew. We should give your podcast the plug right up top. Tell everyone to go and check it out.
Yes, it's called WTF with Scott Rogowsky.
Pow!
Pow! Boom! I believe I have the rights to that title.
Should be fine.
And it's clear. We're good on it. No, it's called Business Casual.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's presented by Morning Brew, this newsletter. I don't know if you get Morning Brew up in Canada.
No, probably not.
But there's a geo block on it. I don't think. I
Yep.
assume
There's
you
a
can
fire.
get it.
There's a paywall.
A firewall.
Yeah, the great firewall of Buffalo that we can give over.
Firewall. It was cool how Beavis and Butthead were knew about that firewall.
They were more ahead of their time than you know.
Yeah.
That Mike Judge, he wasn't pulling any punches. I don't know if he's never done anything bad. I think
hasn't done anything since then. I wonder when he's gonna do his next thing.
Yeah, he's long overdue. He's long overdue. Can't wait to see what he comes up with. But one thing's for sure, he's gonna do all the voices.
Firewall. Yeah, that's my pitch. It's like, check out this podcast if you like business and Beavis and Butthead. We tie Beavis into it somehow. Beavis Casual should be the name of it.
Crazy that you got the rights for that. But so what is the conceit? You just talking business? You just looking at the S&P, checking out the NASDAQ?
Yeah, it's not as day to day, minute by minute, finance like that. It's more like we take these stories, these topics, interviews with business leaders. The tagline is, we give you a front row seat to candid conversations with the biggest thinkers and deepest leaders, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good tagline. Yeah, someone definitely spent time on making a concise one-sentence pitch that you could throw on a 15-second ad before Times the Brief.
Yeah, it's like we ask the questions you wish you could ask yourself.
Oh yeah, with today's thought leaders and industry champions.
And talking mushrooms. We're going to use some of the talking mushrooms that we found on your Twitter page. And mushroom NFTs, and bring that into the mix too. You've been quite active. You always have been an active Twitter, right?
Yeah. I have been doing an active Twitter ever since I decided to do that instead of stand up.
Is that what happened?
That was the deal with myself.
Catch up on your life. Catch up on Stephen W. Skinner.
Well, we're supposed to talk about you. Well, we can go all the way back, but we've actually met as humans in person. It was very brief, and it was over about a decade ago, I think. But in the dark, misty streets of Toronto.
I miss those streets. How misty are they now?
They're incredibly misty.
Still misty after all these years.
Still misty. However, the place that we met that fateful night and enjoyed comedy is no longer.
Really? Was that Ossington?
It was the Ossington, and it did not survive, unfortunately, the pandemic. Another victim. Rest in peace. One of the greatest venues for comedy that I've ever experienced.
Oh, yeah, that was a really fun room. And, man, there were so many fun little bars and back rooms in Toronto. It really reminded me of the Brooklyn, downtown New York, alternative alt comedy. Have you heard of this alt comedy?
Yeah, it's that new anti-comedy.
That new non-comedy comedy that we all love. No, but there were so many great, it's funny, my friend Tom McCaffrey, comedian. I don't know if you know Tom McCaffrey. This guy is truly one of the most underrated, most hysterical dudes who's ever lived. And he has an album on Spotify. I think a couple of them. One of them I produced called Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, that's cool. Producer credit.
This is my first producer credit. So you know that I'm being unbiased here. But it is it's truly a phenomenal record that we recorded back in 2008 at a bar in New York called Pianos. Okay. And it was back, 2005, 2006 when I first got my introduction to the alt scene in New York. All the rooms down there, Rafifi and Mo Pitkins and all these little spots. And that's what, that's honestly being up in Toronto, which was probably also about 10 years ago. Seeing all those little rooms like the Ossington. What was the other one called? Lover Boy? No, that's Drake.
Comedy Bar.
Comedy Bar. No, but there was also some, maybe it was just a show called Lover Boy. Nick Flanagan had a show.
Oh, yeah. Nick Flanagan, friend of the show.
Flans.
The Flans.
Miss him. And but yeah, I can't remember all the names of the places, but I definitely bopped around into a bunch of different rooms, and it had that same kind of that vibe that I witnessed back in New York back in the day. But Tom's writing a book about this alternative comedy scene, which is why I bring it up.
Okay.
And he asked me to write a little blurb or something, or some. He's getting different people to write their own reminiscences.
Oh, you're gonna blurb.
So, I wrote my own little memoirs of that time, because it really was a heady time to see the first New York sets of people like Kumail Nanjiani and Michael Che and Eric Andre and Mulaney and Kroll and there were also more established people coming in, Maron and David Cross and Gene Garofalo and the
Sklar brothers. The scene was hot.
No, the boys who did the thing with the Stella.
Oh, Stella. Yeah, three guys,
Wayne,
three men in that one.
Yeah, Michael Ian Black. God, Rafifi, invite them up. Merman, Tisdale,
Cool.
John Benjamin, John Glazer, Brett Gelman doing 1,000 Cats. I saw these things. Reggie Watts doing his loops.
Wow.
Before anybody knew who Reggie Watts was. It was such a crazy time, and all these people have gone on to be quite wildly successful.
Yeah, I hope all of the comedy nerds listening are just like
barfing in their pants.
Can't believe it. Yeah, and that's what I felt like in the Toronto comedy scene when I was popping around there like 10 years ago. It was just like hot. You would go and see.
You got your own.
We got all the guys. All the people still doing it are the people who I saw back then and I loved, like Chris Locke, Tom Henry, Sarah Hennessy, all of those people just killing it. Hartnett, James Hartnett, Aaron Eves, Proudfather,
who I still, and Nathan Fielder,
Mike Palazzo,
the grand dame of that scene.
Nathan Fielder, out of nowhere, dark horsing it out of Humber Comedy School into the upper echelons of all-time comedy. Just
isn't that wild?
It truly is wild, like insane. Great stuff. Love it. Check out every person that we've mentioned: Tom McCaffrey through Nathan Fielder. Just give him a Google. Check out all their stuff.
Tom McCaffrey to Tom Henry.
From Tom McCaffrey to Tom Henry.
Tim's in between.
And I should mention, bringing it all back to me and my podcast, we had Tom Henry on the pod, and that's where your name was dropped. Like a huge, big crap in the middle of the interview. He was wearing a Ryan Leaf jersey, or I brought up the Ryan Leaf jersey incident, and that was fun. So...
I hope that story is now it's out there for the world to know that
it is.
I try to skirt and circumvent international shipping and tax law to get a Ryan Leaf jersey sent. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever done.
It's a workaround.
To save $8. I can't believe I did that. I still don't have the jersey. I hope Tom's taking care of it.
He's definitely getting good. He's getting great value. He's getting great use out of it.
It's like, I'll be back in Canada. You'll be back in New York at some point. I'll be back in Toronto at some point.
He's like,
we'll just do an exchange.
It's perfect.
And then pandemic, and then I'm never seeing that thing.
No, but Tom is
my gift to Tom at this point.
Yeah, it's great. And now we've got a story about it, and it's been mentioned on the pod multiple times. That Ryan Leaf jersey is it's a story now.
We're keeping Ryan Leaf alive.
Ryan Leaf's memory alive through that jersey. So, speaking of jerseys, speaking of sports, we got a baseball situation happening live as we speak. I'm loath to refresh the information because our beloved Toronto Blue Jays are in the mix, and they're waiting for a result of the game between.
That's right. So what happens if the Red Sox win?
Red Sox win. The Jays are out. So
the Nats win.
That's right.
Oh God. Well, do you want me to be the bearer of?
Yeah. You can tell me. I just saw it.
Bad. We're breaking news here on the pod. Red Sox 7, Nationals 5, final.
In the ninth, it was tied in the ninth inning, and the Red Sox did indeed plate two runs.
So the Blue Jays are out. Oh no,
man. It's not so bad that the Red Sox are in. It's bad that the Yankees are in.
Yeah, Yankees in, Jays out, Rays in, Sox in now. The AL East, can we talk about how good? We don't have to talk about it. But this is an amazing division of baseball.
Yeah.
And I really was pulling for your Jays there. I'm a Toronto-phile. I'm a Toronto Blue Jay fan in a way because of all the Mets Blue Jays connections there have been over the years. Look, you gave us Noah Syndergaard. Thank you very much.
Insane. Every time they deal some of our like prospects, I'm like, this is not gonna work out well for us.
Not gonna end well.
I think it did work out It worked out once. I think it was Travis d'Arnaud. He was like a super top prospect for us, and we dealt him before he made it up, and then he did not do. It's so hard. It's so hard, Scott. You know this. Making it in baseball. You've talked to these guys. You're like a sports guy in the loop of sports.
I'm a bit of a sports head. Sports. So I mean, d'Arnaud's weird. Like he has like a lot of like decent seasons and then like terrible seasons, and then I mean, truly with the Mets, because I'm a Mets fan, he was so freaking bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. His Mets
with
his
the Mets. I mean,
days.
He hit like 16 home runs one year, but
that's okay for a catcher. Like,
yeah, that was okay. But like and then like last year he turns on with the Braves. He hits like 321.
Oh yeah, you just got to get in the right situation.
I don't know what it is with him. I don't know, but not consistent. I guess you want consistency at the end of the day, and he's not one of those dudes.
No, but.
Josh Tolley was one of my. I love Josh Tolley.
Josh Tolley, yeah.
You know,
good stuff.
I'll take I'll take a Josh Tolley over Travis Darno, even though he's also not that much of a hitter. But
not that much of a hitter. So your team is the Metropolitans, all right?
Yeah, New York Metropolitans of baseball.
So they also did not make it in, right?
They did not make it in.
All right.
They were projected to be so good this year. All my friends were so excited. All my Mets fans like 90 wins. You know, what are we gonna do? Like they were honestly projected to win 90
Wow.
wins. You know, the new owner Steve Cohen spent all this money. And yeah, look at this. I'm going back in time now because this is what's great about the internet. You can't just make predictions now and not.
Oh yeah.
Here is Pacoda, which is one of these saber metrics, which I don't even know what the fuck that means.
That's Moneyball.
But Baseball Prospectus has released their Pacoda projections for the 2021 season. This is back in February. After an extremely busy offseason, the first offseason, the Steve Cohen era, they have the Mets finishing atop the National League East with a 95-65 record.
Not just 90.
95. Okay, that's Baseball Prospectus, like the number one most respected, trusted magazine in the baseball digital era for baseball fans. 95 wins. They finished with 75 wins. Way off.
A little bit
Samsonite.
Yeesh.
I was way off. Yeah.
Where'd they have the Jays going?
That's a good point. I should have done. But I said to myself back then, I said, no, that's not going to happen. The Braves are in this division. The Braves are always good.
Yeah.
And what happens? The Braves, of course, they do well again. I mean, the Braves have Acuna and the Freeman and the pitching.
Ozzy Albies, my man.
Ozzy Albies. You're a big baseball fan, huh?
I actually won my fantasy baseball league with the Boyos this year. Huge win for me in fantasy baseball. Yeah, Ozzy Albies coming through. I had Acuna as my guy, and he obviously went down.
He went down.
Yeah,
right.
went down.
So even without
season.
Acuna, they still pulled out. Let's see. Pacoda had the Blue Jays, AL East, finishing fourth place with 90 wins.
Well, damn, that's pretty freaking close.
That's pretty close, huh? New York with 91, Boston with 91. They called it. Actually, They actually got the. Oh no, wait, that's as of 10. That's of today.
Oh yeah, you're just looking at the actual. I was like, they nailed it. They nailed it to a T.
They nailed it. Okay, the prediction was for 85 wins.
I mean, that's close.
So,
I give them that like a 5-game. Like anything can change in 5 games, over the season.
Games. Yeah. I guess they use like AI and they run these projections and simulations. I don't know how they do this.
I think so. Because in football, it's there's a lady who does her Microsoft powered projections where they run a simulation of the game 1,000 times, and then 90% of the time this happens or whatever. And so she's like, "That's my prediction." I'm like, "Okay, Cynthia Freeland. We'll see how good your prediction is."
How do the Octopus predict this year? How's the Octopus doing?
They should have the Octopus as a regular contributor on the panel. I think. I think the Octopus just does Super Bowl, but the Octopus should do every game.
Octopus should predict AL wildcard.
They should replace whatever the heck numbers you were looking at with Octopus.
Yeah. Or about this hamster that's like selling crypto? Have you heard about this hamster?
What?
You heard about this hamster, Steven?
How have I not heard about this?
My father is ashamed that this hamster is outperforming me in the market.
Oh
He expects me to be some kind of financial wisdom. Now I'm hosting a business podcast, and this freaking hamster. I got a hamster.
You got to get the hamster on the pod.
I bought a hamster for $20. And I said, if you don't start buying Ethereum and Cardano.
Yeah, Polkadot. You heard it here first, listeners. Buy yourself some Polkadot.
So you know what's cool? James Hartnett and I were trading investment advice back during the pandemic with a little DM going back. I don't want to call him out, but we had some good moves, man. I don't think it's illegal to share tips with friends.
Definitely not illegal, and definitely not bad to lock in some profits with those winners. Great job.
The Score media company, Media and Gaming.
Oh wow,
this is a Canadian company.
Yeah, the Score. Yeah,
I did big. James and I were hitting big on the Score.
That's great. You know, James is he's a media man. He's ear to the ground in the Canadian media world, right?
Is that so?
He was in a Bell commercial.
Oh, is that what did it?
Recently, I don't know. It was like recently James Hartnett. I'm like, oh, there's James Hartnett as a Bell technician.
As a mental health provider, let's talk with James Hartnett.
Yeah, he probably gets free mental health from that.
How's Bell's Let's Talk campaign doing these days?
It's up and down. Every year it's a different thing. Because obviously there's backlash. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's good to start the conversation, but like, you could probably do more.
We're now 10 years on with Bell's Let's Talk campaign. And is Canada more or less mentally ill than it was 10 years ago?
Oh, dang. It's more. It's more. But maybe that's just a symptom of, certain neighbors to the south.
Yeah? Is it who's you got your neighbors making a lot of noise down there, making a racket?
Over the last, 5 or so years, let's say, there was a lot of racket coming from down there. And a lot of people up here were like, that sounds like good racket. And we're like,
what about all I think there were some people who moved into your country from our neck in the woods.
I mean, that's a little extreme, but yeah. I mean,
do we bring our mental illness with us? And
it could have been. It could have been a part of that, but I don't want to blame you guys for our problems. We have seriously bad problems that we tend to not admit. But
yeah,
that's just we're working on it, I guess. We just we made a holiday. We're starting to apologize about our bad things. So
let's talk about it. We're talking about it.
We're talking about it. So we just had our first Truth and Reconciliation Day after the horrendous year where they've discovered all these mass genocidal graves of all the genocides committed against Indigenous peoples by the Catholic Church and their residential school program. And it's not good. It's terrible. It's awful. And it's heartbreaking. And so now the government is being held to account in a way. But it's like symbolic, and like they just gave it's a federal employees holiday only, and it's sort of like this is sort of like the first Bell Let's Talk Day where they're like, listen, we know we have to have the conversation, but it's like, are we doing the right thing? Maybe not.
Interesting.
So yeah,
I haven't seen the tourism board stepping in and taking advantage of this yet.
No, they have definitely not.
Canada, come for the
apologies.
Come for the maple syrup, stay for the mass graves.
Mass graves. Oh,
we haven't
horrifying.
seen that.
No.
Come for the truth, stay for the reconciliation.
Yeah, I don't know how much reconciliation is happening is the main, I think, conversation coming out of this one. But I think moving forward, like now sort of it's out there. We're gonna have to talk about it every year because it's a holiday. So at least there's that, right? So we can take the first step forward and
Canada, whatever happens in the grounds of our residential schools stays in the grounds of our residential schools.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, popes. Looking at you, popes.
Unbelievable. I need to dig into this story before I poke.
Oh, yeah. Dig into the story, have a good cry, and
dig into the ground and discover mass graves.
Yeah, and we found a few mass graves, and they're like, oh, now this is a thing. We literally have to search for mass graves around.
Is that what they're doing? Now they're going to pay billions to Indigenous children removed from their families as well?
I hope so.
Billions.
Yeah, I hope so.
So what were they doing? They were just taking kids?
So yeah, they took the Catholic Church had these schools where they were like, socializing, I guess, or like taking the Indigenous people away from their family to like white them up.
Wow.
And it would be like the church comes in with the RCMP and they like pull the children away from the family and bring them to these schools. And sometimes they don't come back because they were killed or whatever, just abused and neglected and whatever, disappeared. So truly horrifying stuff.
And this is Canada, the most polite country in the world, doing this. So what hope does the rest of us have?
Canada. You believe it? I thought we were good. I thought we were like a cool, chill country. But how wrong I was. I was one of the blind majority. So
And now I'm hearing that Boris Johnson admits he has 6 children?
Johnson has 6 children.
So what's that about? I mean, that's nothing to do with Canada.
Who are these women? Oh my goodness!
Dude, I honestly, this is my thing. I've been staying off the news. I don't have a TV with cable. I don't really go on Twitter anymore. I don't watch the news or know what's going on or pay attention. And I have to say, I'm all the happier for it.
Oh, that's great. Ignorance. Something about that. Something good.
Say it with me.
Ignorance is
fucking awesome.
Sick. I love it. Yeah, so you don't need to talk about any more modern day stuff. Oh wait, global pandemic.
Chris Rock has COVID?
Is this breaking on the pod?
breaking. Chris Rock, COVID.
Oh my God. So yeah, right as I mentioned, the elephant in the room, the global COVID-19 pandemic, currently year 2. So how's it been going for you? I know.
Well, the news keeps breaking here, Stephen. Now I'm seeing on the same website here, O.J. Simpson is 73.
Today?
And this is the house he lives in today. Now I have to click in to find this house.
Now you got to click through. Now you got to close the pop-up ad. You got to allow. Yes, I realize this website has cookies. I'll allow it.
Stephen, did you know that Kate Middleton's recent outfit is causing a stir?
I mean, when do her outfits not cause a stir?
This is also breaking to me now. All this news I'm missing out on.
I can't believe that your head in the sand has finally come out, and now you're being blown away.
Now I'm learning, because you turned me on to all this, by the way. You told me I started looking up this horrible Canadian tragedy with these mass graves, and now I'm seeing this is all on CNN.com, by the way. This is on CNN.com.
Oh, that's your problem.
I'm reading the mainstream media.
Mainstream media, yeah. It's all manipulated. It's all fake. So whenever you read a headline of a story, don't think, oh, wow, that story. Think, oh, wow, why do they want me to think this about this story?
You have to go beyond the subtext here. But I mean, I'm seeing this headline here, Stephen. This is blowing me away. 1 in 12 Mac users are unaware of this Mac trick.
Okay, click on that.
That's a headline that I don't know if I want to click on it. It seems to be.
I'm a Mac user, and I need to know the trick, is what it's saying. Okay, just click on it and forward me the link.
Saves her baby, then Mama Elephant does this.
Click on it! How do people not just click all day?
Brad Pitt's son turns 18, and is his dad's spitting image?
Click on it!
Okay, now I'm going to click on this one. Colombia seizes nearly 3,500 shark fins bound for Hong Kong. This one I'm clicking into, and wow, this is horrible.
The shark fins.
There are nearly 3,500 shark fins, which were to be illegally trafficked to Hong Kong, confiscated in Bogota's airport.
Is that for the soup?
I assume this is for the soup.
It's for the soup. I mean, I'm not a big soup guy, so really hate to see environmental destruction on a mass scale just for like a warm broth.
This is insane, right? I mean, you're talking about people
broth.
who just wants to just be warmed. You know, they say chicken soup is good for the soul, but is shark's fin soup good for?
Oh, it's bad for the soul.
Yeah, but is it good for
I think it's probably
eroticism or some kind of sexual potency? What are they doing?
Oh yeah, like that horn, like the ground up horn.
Shark's fin soup is definitely bad for sharks.
It's definitely bad for sharks.
I would agree on that.
I would not want shark's fin soup. Because I told you I'm not much of a soupsman.
No, not a soupsman, huh? Not even a mulligatawny?
Not a mulligatawny. Chicken noodles as far as I'll go. And I'll load it up with crackers so it's more of a slurry.
How about a chowder?
Oh, definitely not.
Chowder. What about a chowder?
A chowder. I would definitely do.
Chowder. I know you're a big Simpsons fan, so I can throw that out there. But
thank you. Now I have to get that cleared.
Sorry. You can't.
I have Tim Long. I'll DM Tim Long about it.
Get a lawyer friend of the pod.
All right, I'm off my bullets. I'm off all my bullet points.
All right, sorry. Let's go to your bullet points. I've been completely hijacking this thing.
All right. Toronto visit 2012. We already covered that. HQ trivia years. HQ trivia, is that a thing? It was a thing, right?
It was a thing.
It was quite big. It was a huge thing. It was. It kind of took over the world, or took over the USA swept the nation in 2017. And
it actually swept the country. The world. Really.
It did sweep the world.
International. It got into Canada. It got into.
That's true. Yeah,
we got into Australia and UK and Israel.
Wow.
Those Israelis are always on the cutting edge of tech.
That's true. So at the peak, there was like millions of people crashing the app every time. There was millions of people trying to play a trivia game that you're hosting.
Yeah.
And that is nuts. So you had known someone who like hooked you up with this hosting gig, and then all of a sudden just you're on Good Morning America or whatever.
Dude, it was Good Morning America. It was Today's Show. I did the New Year's Rockin' Eves.
New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest.
I did the Fox New Year's show with Steve Harvey. I did multiple New Year's shows for multiple networks.
Wow.
I was really on top of the world, and then it all came crashing down.
Man, it can be such a good movie.
It actually is probably in the works right now.
For sure. Definitely. It was too big and came crashing down too hard to not have someone at least like write a book about it, and then boom, you can adapt it or straight to screenplay if you have some inside info.
The movie's called Big, but not too big to fail.
Yes.
Because it failed. In parentheses, because it failed.
Crashed and burned spectacularly. Such a crazy parabolic rise and straight down collapse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, similar to cryptocurrency, I guess. But there was no big bounce back. And when it came out and it was like, oh, like this is the future. This is just like what we're all going to be doing. We're all going to have like appointment TV on our phones or whatever. Like this is just going to be the new thing. Like 3 times a day, we're all going to do whatever we want. Like I'll watch, an episode of Little Rascals or whatever because it's live, and I'll watch it on my phone, like HQ Trivia, and maybe it's like interactive or something. But nope, that was not. Yeah. It's not how it pivoted.
Isn't it funny because there were articles saying this is heralding a new paradigm in entertainment. And
did you cause Quibby? Did you Quibby? Did you cause that? Because that's a similar thing, right? Like it was like people don't want to watch.
I would say no, and I actually do want to take umbrage here because Quibby is it was not the same thing in the least. Quibby took. Quibi, so I don't know if there was inspiration from HQ. I don't know, but Quibi was a very old man's idea of, well, the kids are on the phone.
That's what I mean. Do you think you think he saw HQ was like, how many million? Oh, well, this is good. Just, hey, make a thing where all our TVs go on the phone instead.
Yeah, let's put Netflix on the phone. It's like, wait a minute. No.
It already is.
No one wants to watch these shows that are meant for big screens on smaller screens. You have to make content. If you're going to make content on the phone, it has to be native to the phone, and it needs to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
Quibi was not live, and it was not interactive, and those are 2 essential elements to what made HQ Trivia work.
Essential.
If HQ Trivia was not live and not interactive, it wouldn't have been a thing.
Yeah. Why would I want to win $1?
Yeah. And if it was something where you can just join at any time and there's no reason to be there and there was nothing you can click to answer questions, then what the fuck are we talking about? So that is a fatal flaw.
Yeah, man, you should have been in those Quibi meetings.
They should have hit me up. No one did. I actually pitched Quibi, though. I got a meeting with their comedy team and pitched them some stuff, and I got to say, I was not impressed with the meeting.
Oh, yeah, should have been a red flag.
I came with all these ideas, and they're like, yeah, we're doing something like that. Yeah, we're doing something like that. Yeah, we're doing this, all right. I'm like, okay, so it sounds like you guys have it all figured out. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
But they were a little arrogant about it. And I'm looking around thinking, like, I knew at the time, like, this is not going to work. You're all going to be out of jobs in 3 months. And sadly, that's what happened.
Fucking nailed it again, Rogowsky.
Nailed it. I seem to know somewhat what I talk of and what I speak of and what I observe. And yet very few people care to listen.
I'm listening, Scott.
You're listening.
It was kind of crazy because that whole thing like exploded like a nuclear bomb, and you came out fresh as a daisy, maybe even better than anyone else. Like I was reading there's articles about you that sort of cover the whole thing, and it was like beloved host of HQ Trivia, Scott Rogowsky, like just talking about you in such effusive terms, and then when they talk about anybody else, it's like this shithead just fucking really fucked it all up. I was like, okay, Scott really came out just so good out of this.
Yeah, I don't know why I shouldn't have come out good. I mean,
I agree. Yeah, wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. No, in fact, I mean, you are definitely a huge part of the whole thing's success, right? Like, no one's tuning in to not see you host it, right? Like, you're hosting it. You're doing it.
I did what I could. I'm a hero. I deserve to be worshipped by all.
Well,
and I think I might start a cult. I think that's the next step. I'm actually going back to the news that I've been missing out on. I was hanging out with my cousin today. I had a great day today. I had a cousin's day with cousins on both my father's side and my mother's side, first cousins all, and we hung around and bounced around the city. I'm back in New York for a few days, but my cousin Lily was telling me about this cult, Love Has Won. That made the news recently. Have you heard about this one?
Is that the sex cult?
One in Colorado? No, not the Nixium one.
Okay.
This is something that this is like her friend from law school, like up and joined this cult last year. And then this woman died, Amy Carlson.
Oh, no.
And then like they try to transport this mummified cult leader across state lines. This all happened, I guess, back in April, May of this past year of 2021. It's a bizarre story. Love has won. This is my other pick to click. Google this. There's going to be documentaries about this one. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird people out there who fail spectacularly, and this is another example of it.
You can tell a lot by the other searches. Like for Scott Rogowsky, a lot of funny ones came up, like what happened to HQ Trivia host or whatever. This one is Love Has Won YouTube, Love Has Won Dr. Phil, Love Has Won Mummy Photos, Love Has Won Cult Leader.
Mummy photos.
Who's searching the mummy photos?
That's what I want to. I got to see these mummy photos. Apparently, this woman died, and they kept her mummified body like for 21 days or something, and traveled across state lines. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to fully dive in, but I love weird stories like this, and I think HQ is basically another one of those weird stories now, part of pop culture. That just kind of like captures people's imaginations.
Yeah.
There was already a podcast about the rise and fall of HQ. There's going to be
was there
other things coming? Yeah, there's like an 8-parter that The Ringer put out.
Oh, like a professional one, like
a professional
this
one.
Is The Ringer.
Unlike yours.
Yeah, I don't have any stings. Where's the sting?
Stinger. Ouch.
Got to put that. Wait.
Oh. Look at that production.
Yeah, I remember listening to that music for minutes before you would come on.
It got to the point where there were people making covers of that song.
Oh, that's cool.
And sending us covers, and there's really talented people out there. Yeah, on it, to be serious for just a brief moment, the coolest part about HQ, if this was on your bullet point, I don't know if you're going to ask this question, but Scott, what was the coolest part of HQ? What do you love? What do you miss the most?
Yeah, it was coolest moments.
Cool. KEWLEST. The coolest moment from HQ was just like meeting all these people. I mean, I didn't really get to meet them, but learning that people existed who loved this thing so much, and the community of HQ that cropped up around it, and the people who made art and fan art and the songs and the
Halloween costumes.
Just Halloween costumes. I mean, that blew my mind. Like,
crazy.
Oh my God,
little kids.
Because, dude, you have to remember, like, I was so inside this thing. I was this thing that I didn't, it's perspective and it's relativity. Like, I didn't have that attachment to HQ because I was hosting it. So I couldn't enjoy it, right? It's like the clown. It's Pagliacci who doesn't get entertained by his own, musings and his own clowning. Not that I was depressed, but I was just so, busy doing it that I didn't have I couldn't play it, right? Like I couldn't be on the other side of it. So seeing people play it outside and getting pictures sent to me of like groups of 20 people playing it, and again, like all the fan art and the interactivity on Twitter and social media, it was something that I never experienced, and I'll be lucky to experience again, because I don't know how many people get to experience that kind of thing with such a mass appeal and the public adoration and just
I think it was like Freddie Prinz before, who did Carson and then was like overnight a celebrity, and then you from HQ Trivia. Like that was the last time, and then that was the new last time that someone like overnight became so gigantically huge. Obviously not overnight, right? Like obviously.
Well, it was
doing your thing
years in the making, right?
Doing your thing.
I was doing my thing in Toronto. I was cutting my teeth.
That's what I mean. Like I knew you were going to be a guy. Yeah, I knew you were going to be a guy when I met you in Toronto. I'm like, I know who guys are going to be guys are. So this guy's cool. So I think you came with Jim Totzi, maybe Totzi.
Oh my gosh, Jim Tozzi.
And I ended up connecting with his sister Karen on Twitter later on, and I was like, kind of good pals with her. She makes like puppets and stuff. She deactivated her Twitter like recently, but that was like a weird coincidence connection. Just cool stuff.
I can't have a conversation about Toronto and Toronto comedy without bringing up DDP, because David Porter is the reason why this all got started for me. And it ties back to that alt comedy scene, that Invite Them Up show, where I saw DDP perform back in like 2007 or 8, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the F is this hilarious dude? I mean, I was blown away by his little act and his little act,
His little
puny,
act.
tiny act. No, it was so funny. And I went up there after the show and I said, who are you? Where are you from? I want to get to know you. We walked around the city that night, got some pizza, talked for hours, and became like good friends. And we stayed in touch over Facebook for years. And then I would be like, yeah, I'm coming to Toronto. I want to I've never really been to Toronto as an adult, and I wanted to go to the strip clubs, and
Yeah.
and eat your
The brass
delicious,
rail. I don't know how to
rail.
get there.
And go to eat at Pizza and Pizzaiola and Boston Pizza.
Hey.
And
all the pizzas.
All that great Toronto pizza. No, Tom Sharpling, if you listen to the best show, you know that Toronto pizza is much maligned, and I would have to agree. I have not had great pizza there, but I have had good times there, and that's all that matters.
I mean, I agree. And for those people who don't know, we're talking about David Deneen Porter at Deneen Porter on Twitter.
Shout him out.
Shout him out. Check out LeBrondell's Universe on YouTube.
That's right.
That's the masterpiece.
LeBrondell.
And
Steve, I wouldn't know you though. I wouldn't be doing this podcast without DDP. So he's the guy, the linchpin here.
Huge shout out to him. I had never seen him, never like met him. I never seen him like do comedy. Never met him, but just I know him from the circles. And I used to listen to his podcast that was very briefly out. And it was very fun. It was like a Dungeons and Dragons style thing with 4 comedians who improvised it the whole time, and it was really fun.
That's right. He's just so creative and inventive, and these guys, so many of these people up there, you great white northern comedians, just doing really eccentric, innovative stuff that I never seen anywhere else. And it goes to Nathan Fielder and Chris and
and
Tim
there's new
Tom.
ones. There's new ones coming up. I'm not in the scene anymore, but I try to keep my eye around like through Twitter and whatever, and there's some new ones who I've recently had on the pod. Ben Steger is a new one that kind of reminds me of DDP. He was recently on the podcast. It was very funny. He has the same kind of like really weird vibe and just super funny at everything he does, like super original, unique voice.
Shout out the women, Kathleen, Chris's wife,
Kathleen Phillips,
and Sarah, and
Steph Callender, and
Steph, Aaron's wife. Now they're all married to each other.
They're all married. This is a tight knit community. Doesn't get much more tight knit.
It's tight.
It's tight. Very
Stager,
cool.
So you got to tell me about the new people, because I mean that goes for New York too. I couldn't tell you who any of the new comics are in New York.
It's hard to keep up, especially when we're locked down.
Lockdown, baby.
So during lockdown, you turned your show into a Zoom show, right?
I did. I tried it. It was. I like to think I was pretty early on that tip. What I mean? March 24th. I think we did our first show from my apartment.
That's like week 3 or something.
Yeah. I was like, look, I was doing, because I've had years of talk show production experience, hosting my own talk shows, running late with Scott Rogowsky and all that stuff. And I have this great group of guys and girls in New York who, are sort of my writers and help, just funny people that we kind of get together when I was doing the shows, and we'd sit around at someone's apartment, get some pizza, and just jam on some ideas and try to be funny with each other, make each other laugh, and come up with bits for the show. So
little Rogowsky writers room.
Little Rogowsky writers room, and with Alex Brazell, my producer, and we do it out of his apartment usually. And we decided, like, boy, those are weird times, and we got over the first few weeks of like, okay, the world might end, and then okay, the world's not quite ending yet, and we may just be sort of stuck in this thing for a bit. So that's when it sort of started to get boring and less scary. And it's like, what are we gonna do now? Let's do something. So we had these little virtual writers rooms, and we throw ideas back and forth, and I said, let's do a talk show. Isolate Night.
Isolate Night. That's what I loved.
Coming up with the name. I know you love your puns. You were the most puntastic dude in the universe. Probably.
But you did it. You came up with it. Isolate Night. Nailed it. Great job on the name.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I fucking love these puns, and like most people don't. And what are we supposed to do as pun lovers? Because they say it's the cheapest form of comedy, and I disagree. I think it takes a pretty sharp brain to come up with. I hate being half bicycle, half motorcycle, moped.
Thank you.
I mean, and look, the world agrees. 12,000 retweets, Stephen.
Takes something. Takes some kind of weird brain.
Yeah, it is a weird brain, and it's the kind of brain that maybe doesn't, lead to long-lasting relationships with members of the opposite sex or even of the same sex.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of friends, I don't think. Actual friends.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think we turn people away with our bizarre brains.
Could do, yeah, definitely sometimes. People get freaked out.
My favorite baseball player was arrested for putting a hit out.
Oh no, I could tell he's scrolling. I knew when you dropped the moped flawlessly that you were on the bio page, but I could tell that you're scrolling now. I appreciate that, but I still have more bullet points, Scott. I need to keep this comedy train running.
Stop with the scroll. Hashtag stop the scroll.
Stop the scroll. Okay, there's a few more bullet points that we need to discuss because you have actually done other stuff other than your very cool late night show, which you turned into ISO Late Night. Your HQ trivia years, obviously, your comedy years, your baseball hosting years, but I'm talking about fake book covers on the subway, your YouTube video content that has gone viral with its very hilarious premise and execution. Rock solid. Tell us about fake book covers.
Fake book covers was inspired by the Talmud and the teachings of Rabbi Hillel. No, it was just a silly idea I had. I was riding the subway as I did today for the first time in a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Pandemic subway. Now, and then quick tangent, New York City subways, the MetroCard is being phased out. The MetroCard, which was revolutionary when it came out like 25 years ago. Now you can use your Apple Pay and just tap the thing and boom, you paid for your app, your
just
MetroCard.
Use your watch.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Use your watch. I don't have one of those watches.
Well, yeah, just use your phone.
Use the phone, and I'm on the subway. Couldn't believe it.
Pretty wild.
This is the future's here, folks.
Although I did see a picture of the current cards, and it has like a Wu-Tang tape on it.
Is that well? Now they're charging you like $1 for the card itself.
Oh, I get it. They got to recoup.
So now that's smart. They're probably gonna make collectible versions of these cards.
Yeah, that's smart. Collect them all.
Collect them all.
Stop. One from each stop.
One from each member of the Wu-Tang Clan. I want the You God and the Master Killer. Those are the rare ones.
I like the RZA.
Inspect a deck.
Not as much the Jizza.
Not as much the Jizza?
More the RZA. RZA is like legit. Like he went on to do scores and like I've listened to stuff and been like, wow, this is really good. The RZA? Okay, you're legit the RZA. I am a fan now.
My favorite member is SZA.
Okay.
Wasn't she the first female Wu-Tanger?
Probably.
I don't know.
I'm not up to date on the lineup.
No, but you're a hip hop head too. It sounds like you like the Riz and the Jizz. You can come up with a pun around Jizza, can't you, Steven? Jizza.
I'll take that back to the lab. Jizza.
Anything? Is that striking
the Jizza strip? Am I pronouncing it wrong?
The Jizza strip. That's good.
We did it. Okay, so you are also selling vintage T-shirts and stuff. How long have you been doing that? I am a thrift store guy too. I'm a Value Village freak. Haven't been doing it during the pandemic, but tell us how you got into that and how's that going and what's that all about?
I didn't even really tell you the whole book cover thing, but I guess.
Oh geez, I'm friggin' out of it. I'm flying.
I'm trying. I know. I guess there's a time limit here, but look quickly on the book covers. I made these videos. I was inspired by looking around the subways and saying, boy, people really notice. I at least noticed what people are reading on the subway. And what if I made funny books so that people would stare at me reading them? And that's what I did. And they have silly titles, mischievous titles, raunchy titles, little risque titles.
There was one that's like definitely not porn. There's so many. What are your favorite? What is some of your favorites?
Definitely not porn. That's funny. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I've done a lot of them. My favorites were. You know what? DDP actually contributed a couple of titles, and one of his gets a lot of people loved it when it becomes a meme. It's "Hiding Your Erection from God" by Deepak Chopra. It's just one of those DDP things. Like, what? Hiding your erection from God? It's just the Deepak Chopra. And so what really made these things work is that there's oh my God, now I'm seeing someone that has made this on Redbubble and like
Oh,
stole this idea.
You can order them. I
I'm
have seen
Googling
other
this.
people doing it who aren't you. And I was like, oh, I guess it's just like it's out in the universe now. Anyone
Can't
can
believe
just do
someone's
it.
selling this for $11 and ripping off my IP, which is actually DDP's IP. I'm gonna have to send a C.
DDP's
a
IP
C&D in the industry. But no, it's about the title, and then it's like the book cover itself. You have to match it up with like found some inspirational cover.
Yeah, and there's like blurbs that you'd be able to read, like big font blurbs.
The blurbs, New York Times bestselling author. You make it look legit. There was also Gay Garfield.
One that I picked up was Gone Girl to Even Goner.
Even Goner. Yeah, I think that was a Dan Wilbur. I did have some people contribute some headlines. Dan Wilbur's a very funny
And then you had like a team mock it up? Where was that you?
Well, the mocking up was initially my roommate at the time, Russ, because he's like a graphic designer. He helped with the initial mocks. And then I got the hang of it. I downloaded a Photoshop knockoff called Pixelmator.
Okay.
And I started doing my own I did my own little Photoshops, which I became
graphic
sort of taught myself.
Designer credit.
Yeah, I get some designer credit, and I'm actually pretty proud of the fact that I learned like Final Cut on my own, and this kind of thing. You pick things up out of necessity. I'm the type of person that I'm very scared to try new things, and it's like, oh, I don't know how to edit, I don't know how to do this, but then you watch someone do it. Maybe they show you a thing or two. Yeah. You do a YouTube tutorial, and it's like, you actually can teach yourself these things.
But you do it a little bit every day.
A little bit, but I give credit to Dan Wilbur did some and Russ Weiner did some, but then Tinder training your toddler. I think I threw that together. 1,000 Places to See Before You're Executed by ISIS.
Oh, relevant.
Remember ISIS?
Yeah,
that was very relevant back then.
ISIS.
This is like 2016. We're
Islamic
going back
State.
to. So I did 3 of these videos, and they all got like tens of millions of views.
Millions of views, Scott. You really did it. You created that. Oh, we're all viral content.
Viral content. You know what actually was my favorite? I'll tell you, yes, my favorite one. And this one did not make. I don't think this made the cut of the final video. I think I cut it out because it was too obscure, perhaps, or it was running long. But you're familiar with the book Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg?
Lean In.
This was a big book. Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, big best-selling book. It has a very distinct. Book cover, and the font and everything. So, and I have to match. When you do the parody ones, you got to really match them.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lean In became Lean Back by Fat Joe.
Yeah.
And the subtitle is Refusing to Dance, Pulling Up Pants, and the Will to Do the Rockaway. Fat Joe with Sheryl Sandberg.
That's awesome. Oh, Fat Joe with.
Yeah, in smaller.
It goes written by. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. And it looks exactly like her book, so I love that one. And I hope Fat Joe loves it too if he ever sees it.
I hope Fat Joe did see it and get a sensible chuckle.
Also, I'm looking at this picture of myself back then. I loved the way my hair looked back then. I gotta get that haircut again.
Yeah, it was coiffed.
Yeah, damn it. I don't look as good today as I did then. That sucks.
Well,
and then the vintage stuff. Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
I know you got a time thing, but here I want to answer all your questions. I'm a man who this has been 3 years in the making, Stephen. I want to make it worth your while and the listeners' while.
Thank you.
I have collected thousands of vintage T-shirts over my lifetime. I actually got probably about 50 or 60 of them in Canada at Value Villages. I drove across the country of Canada. I did a Montreal to Calgary.
Montreal to Calgary.
Yes.
Wow.
Stopped in many a Salvation Army, especially there was one in Fort McMurray.
Oh yeah, you went to Fort Mac.
Fort Mac. That I definitely have a distinct memory of a Salvation Army in Fort Mac, and I also found a 1988 Calgary Olympics soda cans, Coca-Cola cans. They had special commemorative cans for the Calgary Olympics and '88 Winter Olympics, and they were fashioned. Someone had fashioned these soda cans into a propeller plane sculpture.
Oh, cool.
So I bought that for a couple bucks, and that still is with me to this day.
That's a cool one of a kind
folk art.
Folk art.
Canadian folk art.
Really cool. Yeah, that Calgary stuff is still around Value Villages. There was Esso, the gas station, had these glasses. They're like gold rim like glasses. There was 4 different styles. You got to collect them all, and those appear at Value Villages every now and again. You're like, oh yeah, the Calgary one, the Calgary glasses.
Calgary glasses. Love Calgary, the Stampede. Love Medicine Hat, Moose Jaw. I've been around, man.
Yeah, shout out to our Calgary friends of the show, Amanda Brooke Perrin. Jeff De Silva, Old Man Will Weldon. Great Calgary.
Lethbridge? Any Lethbridge listeners?
No, we're an anti-Alberta podcast.
The sands, the tar sands aren't. Not a fan of the sands.
Not a fan of the sands. Not a fan of their whole. They want to Wexit.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's Alberta people who want to dissolve or whatever. They think that their oil money can propel them out or whatever. Like this, like the crazies in the middle of the country.
God, I love this. I love hearing about these intramural Canadian political conversations because I did not know that there's a Lethbridge like a breakaway contingent, much like Quebec's.
Yeah, exactly like the Bloc Québécois.
Wow, and these are all just redneck idiots out there.
Yeah, just a bunch of cowboys. Yeah, oil rig cowboy dummies who are like anti-vaxxers. Guys like
it is amazing that like there's we're talking. I mean, this is my perspective when I came to Alberta for the first time and I rolled into Calgary, and you've got your Stampede and you've got these people wearing cowboy hats and you've got the cowboy boots and the whole cowboy rodeo aesthetic going on. I'm like, wait a minute, we're in Canada, right?
Yeah, we're like very far north. We're way above cowboy level,
very far from Dallas and Texas and all that. And I'm like, they're basically the Dallas or Houston of Canada, but I guess it's the oil thing.
Yeah.
It was very strange. I try to wrap my head around it. I guess there's like a belt that runs through the middle of North America. And it doesn't matter what country you're in, where the state lines are delineated or the national lines. It's the fact that if you're in this oil belt, this oil corridor, you're going to act like a jackass, no matter who you are or where you're from.
Yeah, that's kind of just the thing about it, And I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad. Oh, if there's any Alberta listeners, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking.
All the respect
to our Alberta listeners, specifically the Calgarians. Those kind of peoples. I'm talking about the jerks. I'm only talking about the jerks out there, mainly in the leadership of the government of that province.
Most people in Colehurst or Diamond City are doing just fine.
All right, by me.
Picture Butte. Do you know these small towns in Alberta? How well known are these towns by someone like yourself in Toronto? Like, would someone in Toronto know that there's a place called Pincher Creek in Alberta?
No? Especially not from Toronto. Maybe if it's someone from like Wellington and they have family in Alberta, they might know.
Have you heard of Drumheller?
Yeah, actually, yeah. There's like hockey. It's like if the minor league hockey. If the minor league hockey team is big enough, we will have heard of it.
You know what? There's the world's largest dinosaur there. I've been to Drumheller. They have these crazy. It's like a big dinosaur territory with archaeological sites.
Yes.
And the hoodoos. Do you know about the hoodoos out there?
The hoodoos?
Hoodoo, the voodoo, the you-do. They're great. These geological formations that are very unique to this part of the country, and you've got them there in Drumheller. So good on you,
man. Real good stuff coming out of Drumheller. Geographically speaking. Oh, Scott, I'm looking down at the old
bullet points,
the old clock, the old timer-oni.
Look at the bullet points. We're running out here.
It looks like we're running low. We're running up to the end of the time limit of the podcast, and you talked to Mo Rocca. That was a bullet point.
That was true. That's true.
That's very cool. When I was growing up in like whatever 2000, the year 2000, whenever Mo Rocca was on The Daily Show, he was my man. Like, oh, man. If it was a Mo Rocca bit, I was happy that night.
Mo was my man too. I love Mo. I really appreciate the fact that he's done my live show.
So cool.
He hopped on the Isolate Night show remotely. And
that's what I saw. He's
very kind. And I feel like I might have offended him by. I made a joke about how they're doing, Wait, Don't Tell Me, they were doing without audience members of the theaters, because COVID, and I was like, I started listening. I couldn't tell the difference. You're doing the show, nobody's laughing, and it was hard to tell the difference.
Polite ribbing.
It was a fun little joke. Obviously, he's very funny. And,
so
I do listen to that show.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right. And so what are you doing now, Scott? Well, let's bring it up to present day. What are you promoting now? We got your podcast or your business, rubbing elbows with the business elite and the thinkers. What is it? The thought leaders of the day?
The biggest thinkers and deepest lakes in North America. We're talking Lake Manitoba. We're talking to the CEO of Lake Manitoba in our next episode. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the show. It's a work in progress, but we talk to business folks. We learn about business things. We figure out how business shapes our lives, because really business shapes every aspect of our life. If you think about it, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Even this podcast, you can say, what does it have to do with business? Well, guess what? You're using what? Anchor?
I am on Blueberry.
Blueberry. So that's a thing that you might pay for.
Yeah, I pay money.
So you see, you pay money and you hope to make money back somehow.
No, this is a loss leader. Scott, this is a loss leader for the Twitter account, which has not grown in 2 or 3 years.
The Twitter account, which Twitter is dead. We can all agree.
We can agree Twitter's dead. I've switched over to other things. So
Parler. You're on Parler now?
I'm not on Parler. In fact, I'm moving to decentralized applications on Web3.
Whoa.
Yeah.
DeFi.
Yeah, DSoc.
Decentralized social?
It's the new. It's gonna be the new thing. Yeah.
I'm moving to Falcon Beach, Manitoba, or maybe
that actually sounds pretty cool. That would be a fun show starring you, where you're like fish out of water, big New York City guy dropped into Falcon Beach, and you have to solve the mystery of your missing friend.
Here's you guys what I'm up to right now. Right now,
DDP.
I'm perusing Google Maps of Canada, and I'm finding a town called Reddit. Oh, you internet heads you like Reddit? You go to Reddit? Well, there's a town of Reddit in Ontario, Western Ontario, in the Lake region. It's true. Dude, this Google Maps is my favorite website application, and I love scrolling through Canada here.
It's good. Google Maps kind of blew my mind when it came out, or Google Earth, where you could I can look at any spot on Earth, and it's crazy. Like people have discovered stuff on it, just the satellites have taken the pictures and then it's uploaded, and people have gone inch by inch over every picture and found hidden cities and stuff, undiscovered plane wrecks and all this stuff. It's what?
They're modern day, Magellans over here.
They're screen-based Magellans.
Screen cooks, Captain Cooks over here. I mean, it's fun, man. It's fun to be an explorer, a modern day explorer. I mean, I've always been a map head myself. I love a good atlas. Okay. And I truly love the fact that I can scroll around now and say, I've been to Portage La Prairie. I did the Trans-Canadian Highway, so I've done a lot, and these towns are actually coming back to me now. I'm getting a lot of. There's a lot of nostalgia.
I feel like you should scroll through Google Maps more often of places that you've been.
I should, man. Thunder Bay. You ever been to Thunder Bay?
Oh, yeah. Thunder Bay, for sure. Yeah, we've been to Thunder Bay.
Nipigon? You been to Nipigon? I've been there.
Is it near Nipissing?
It might be. Nipicanoe and Taylor, too.
Definitely heard of it.
Too. I had a nip slip in Nipigon.
That is a Janet Jackson reference.
I slipped on the ice there, and if you slip on the ice in Nipigon, it's called a nip slip,
it is
and that could be your next tweet.
Could be a nip slip. And I guess we'll wrap it up on that.
Wrap it up.
Oh wait, no, there was another bullet point.
Yes,
but I should have moved this bullet point up to around HQ trivia bullet points.
Okay.
Because you read a bunch of my tweets as sign-offs on the HQ Trivia program when it was very popular. There was millions of people watching at the time.
Yes.
And that was really fun. I have videos, my wife has videos of my phone we were watching. I think we got 3 of the 5 on video of you quoting my tweets, and then you gave me the shout out on the Friday. It was really cool.
Yeah,
so I just want to thank you for that, because that was a neat thing in my Twitter history. Did
it help? Did you see a bump?
I think no. I think a couple people tweeted something about it.
The HQ
or
bump?
they replied after the Friday one. They're like, nice. That was good. I was like, okay, that was good. Yeah, I got 2 likes or something in an at reply. So very nice.
If I can help you get 1 like or 2, or at least 1 retweet, if I can get 1 person to retweet Steven Skinner, then I feel like my job has been done.
And we're even.
I can die happy. Yeah. We're even. Yeah.
Well, that was great, and I really appreciate it. And it let me see what ones you thought were funny.
Dude, I love your tweets. You're hysterical, and I'm surprised to hear you have a wife. That's breaking news to me.
And a baby.
You just debunked my theory about being like socially inept or incapable of pun lovers being incapable of finding love, and it sounds like you found it. So that gives me hope.
Yeah, I did. I did well on that one, but still working on the Twitter. We'll see you on the Web3 on decentralized social, and I guess enjoy hanging around New York City. And you still doing that card show?
I'm doing a card show. Network. Yeah, let's shout this out.
Yeah, network. No vowels. So on. So you're
WRK. Yeah, that's probably.
I'm your host.
At the top.
Skit Rogowsky. I guess sometimes Y would still be there, right?
I guess Y is sometimes a vowel.
And just take out those O's.
Take out the O's. Scott Rogowsky. And it's Tuesdays and Thursdays on the network app NTWRK. And yeah, I'm telling you this right now.
Collectibles.
If you like sports cards, and you sounds like you do.
I'm more of a Pokemon guy.
Oh, really? You poke around with a Pokemon? Huh?
Well, this is like we bought some. Me and my buddy Matt bought some in 2001 or whatever, like in 2000 when it came out. So we have like a binder with some Pokemons. So then during this recent resurgence, I bought a couple boxes and I just like have them. But I just think that was funny to mention. But yeah, so you host a show of collectibles, sports cards. What's the highest value item that you've come across? Michael Jordan rookie.
Well, so yeah, I have the cards. I open the packs up live. You can buy the packs, and we open them for you, and we see what we get. And so we pulled in our very first show, which we're going to reprise because it was so fun. On October 14th, we're reprising it, but it was the first show on September 9th. It was a Tom Brady rookie card chase. In the second pack of the box, we hit a $1,500 Tom Brady rookie card.
Woo-wee!
Yep.
What'd you do in the rest of the episode? Just look at it?
We just marveled at that thing and
maybe we'll get another one. Maybe we'll get a double.
Maybe you have to tell people maybe you get another one because otherwise they won't buy it.
Yeah,
no, but you actually could. You never know.
You actually could. That's the fun thing. So you get to do the fun part of the unboxing and the excitement of discovering it, but someone else owns the card. They've already pre-purchased that pack or whatever.
I don't keep the card. You buy the pack. It's yours. We send it to you.
Yeah, that's fun. My buddy does that too. He gets those breaks or whatever. What's it called? Case break or something?
Yeah, live break, box breaks, case breaks.
Pretty cool. Pretty neat. Do you wear like the little gloves and stuff? You get all fancy with it?
I did wear gloves for the first episode, and they were unwieldy.
Okay, yeah.
They came off pretty quickly.
Kept ripping all the cards.
It was just hard to open the... Yeah, it was just hard to use the gloves.
Just wash your hands before.
I washed them thrice.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so everyone check out Wild Cards on Network.
That's right. And I'll tell you something else, Stephen. I'll sign off here and I'll say, I lost my wife's audiobook and I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, Scott, thank you so much.
If you don't know that tweet, like it now.
Scott Rogowsky bringing back old friends of the show, reading tweets on the pod. We eliminated that for a reason. That used to be a regular thing. Like this week, my favorite 3 Scott Rogowsky tweets are, and I will read them. Boy. So yeah, we don't do that, but I appreciate all your support over from the tweets and the Twitter over all the years. Congratulations on all your success, and here's to way more in the future. And hopefully our Blue Jays and Mets can meet up in the postseason one day.
Here's hoping.
That'll be fun.
Was I supposed to record this, by the way? Because I didn't.
No, you do not have to. I record it on my end as the job as the producer of the podcast. And when the podcast is over, I play the podcast music, and we say our goodbyes. So, Scott, thank you so much again. 3 years in the making, or whatever, 10 years in the making. Appreciate it.
We'll do it again in 3 years, Stephen. Thank you.
Another 3 years? Well, I'll start the next Decentralized HQ Trivia.
Perfect.
Awesome, buddy. All right, thanks.
Love you, man. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Scott. Follow him on Twitter at Scott Rogowsky and check out all the YouTube links in the show notes for all of his hilarious content. If you're a new listener, well, thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you drop by again sometime. If you can check out all the old episodes at www.stevenwskinner.com or find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Pod Zone.
All right, remember ratings and reviews, unnecessary. If you like podcast Twitter accounts, check out at FOTS Pod on Twitter. If you like regular Twitter accounts, check out at SkinnerSteven on Twitter, and that's where I do the Twitters. Special thanks to Ruby Coast to the music. Special thanks to Kyle I. Davidson for the theme, and special thanks to you for listening. I am Stephen W. Skinner. Have a great one!